Hey guys, it is Charlie Rocket here, and it is time for another comic review Thursday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have been getting a ton of people telling me that I need to review more DC comic titles. I think people assume I'm very big on Marvel, and that's not necessarily true. My first two comic books ever were Batman, and the other one was Superman. Superman was actually first. And it was a while before I received my first Spider-Man comic, which was my first Marvel. DC also has my favorite comic book villains. So I am not hard on DC. I don't dislike DC by any means, but most of the comics that I do own are Marvel, Valiant, or other. And not a whole lot of DC. But if you guys have any DC titles that you think are amazing or awesome that came out in the last, I don't know, 5 years or something like that, please let me know. I am happy to pick them up, give them a read, give them a review. I would be ecstatic. Another reason I like DC is because one of my favorite superheroes is a DC hero, and that is Plastic Man. Look how beautiful this is. This is what I am reviewing today. I read this earlier. This is issue number 1 of the most recent Plastic Man. A friend of mine bought this for me when it came out months and months ago, and I never opened it out of the package until today. This is issue 1 of a 6-issue mini-series, so it's not a long thing or anything, but a very interesting story. So here we go. When we're starting out with a typical mobster being yelled at by his girlfriend. Got some guys back there, his little minion guys, who are beating up somebody, breaking legs, beating them all up. And that somebody they're beating up is none other than Plastic Man himself. Now, do they know it's Plastic Man? Not at all. They think it is somebody they used to be acquainted with, Eel O'Brien. And you know what? That is who he is. You know, that is his actual identity before he was Plastic Man. So basically, what goes on here is there was a big heist, okay? A big old heist. It was Eel, the two guys who were just beating him up, and the big mob boss, Sammy, okay? They all went. There was not supposed to be anybody there. They're going into this vault, breaking in, and it turns out a guard was actually there. They didn't know anybody was going to be there. The guard had a gun. He said, "Halt." Somebody shot the guard, and somewhere in there, when the guard got shot, Eel also thought he got shot. But what happened in actuality is the guard shot at them, and it shot the vault. The vault is where there was a chemical being hidden and stored. And they were stealing this chemical for someone else. But when the guard shot through, the gases leaked out and got Eel, and he starts melting and looking all gross and disgusting, right? So somebody shoots the guard dies. They take Eel into the car, and they start driving away. They're like, he needs a hospital, he's looking bad. The mob boss says, nah, toss him out the car, let him die, we can't afford to be caught. They tossed him out, left him for dead. So when he wakes up, he forgets most of that whole encounter. He knows that there was a guard, the guard got shot, he thought that he also got shot. So he had to draw out his past friends by pretending he was still alive, and when they found him, they beat him up, or so they thought, you know. And so that's just how he found out where they were. Then he was like, bam, time to be Plastic Man, right? Time to be Plastic Man and find these guys. They're murderers. They killed a guard. How could they, you know? We gotta hunt them down. So they beat him up. He goes to individually find these guys and take them down, I guess. So the first guy he finds, he's like, well, I can't show up like Plastic Man. They're not going to be afraid of a guy who looks like some old chewing gum, you know? So he decides he's going to pretend to be Wonder Woman, okay? But his version of Wonder Woman is really extra. And he says, in the name of Hera, goddess of whatever, I call you to surrender to my womanly feminineness, which is totally better than dudes. Like, he's just saying the most random stuff he can think of. And Plastic Man's humor is very, you know, a lot of sarcasm, a lot of snarkiness, very Deadpool-esque, you know. And, you know, I always like a funny guy, with the exception of he's not as violent as Deadpool, of course. Deadpool has that healing factor, so he just goes all out, all freaking out, and I can't deal. But Plastic Man just more so makes a lot of puns and then just stretches a lot. You know, like what's he really gonna do? You know, shape-shifting into other people almost, kind of. So he's pretty funny. He goes after this dude, and he asked the dude, who shot the guard? Who shot the guard? And he was like, it was our friend Eel. Our friend Eel shot the guard. So Plastic Man hears this and he was like, man, did I really shoot that guy? I don't think I shot him. I couldn't have been the one who shot him, right? I don't know. I can't even remember. So he goes back to the club where he works as a manager, but where he also stays upstairs. Like, that's where his room is or whatever. The club is a strip club, but the strippers dress as superheroes, which, you know, as a cosplayer, I appreciate this, you know? And I feel like this could be a real opportunity. But anywho, some of the girls like him, you know, this little Supergirl chick digs him and is asking him out. And at the bottom here, it's showing like this Batman stripper and this Catwoman. But the chick he likes doesn't like him. And I would like to point out that Plastic Man's down with the swirl, okay? Down with the swirl. He likes this chick who's dressed as Aquaman right now. And she doesn't want anything to do with him. So he goes back up to bed. He's tired. He's having nightmares about shooting the guard and about the whole night. And then he wakes up scared. And when he wakes up, there's a woman there, bam, who has a gun. And she's like, anybody who wakes up like that has a guilty conscience. And he's like, cool story, bro, but like, I'm naked right now. I'm in my bed and I'm naked. And I really want some coffee. So can I make some coffee? You can turn around if you want, but like, if you don't, I'm just gonna be naked. And she was like, I'm not turning around. So he just gets up and he's naked. And she explains who she is. Her code name is Obscura, bam, and she works for Spiral. And she refuses to give any more information, but she also gets distracted because, what did I say? He was naked. And he was like, oh, you distracted by this body, girl? She was like, look, I can have 1 billion abs. I can have a 12-pack, girl. And she was like, you know what, I'm gonna turn around, forget it. So he puts clothes on, and she's saying that they want to recruit him to help them because there is somebody going around doing a lot of murders and doing a lot of bad stuff. And he was like, well, why don't you call Justice League? Why don't you call like Teen Titans, somebody, whatever. And she says, well, at this point, it seems as though they may have some of the good guys and the metahumans like on their side. So we're not sure who's good and who's bad. The Justice League, Teen Titans, all those people could be infiltrated by somebody who's bad. So we need somebody who's nameless, who nobody cares about, to kind of help us out and look into this. As he's talking to her, he gets a phone call. It's one of his old pals who also beat him up, right? And he said, look, dude, I know we just beat you up earlier, but like, we used to be friends at some point. Like, Sammy's missing, the other guy's missing, and now somebody's knocking on my door. I don't think they're human. I need your help. We were friends at some point, okay? I need your help. I'm super scared. Plastic Man was like, that dude just tried to murder me, but you know what? He sounded really scared, and we were friends at some point. So he's like, lady, I gotta go. The lady was like, cool, I'll meet you there. Turned into a rocket. Classic Plastic Man. He shoots off, you know. He's turning into different things on the way. He turned into a little car. He gets there, his friend's all bloody and gross. And he goes, buddy, who did this to you? And he raises a bloody hand. It spells out JLA. What? What? That's that Justice League, y'all. So Plastic Man is like, are you sure? Because that's crazy. And he was like, yeah. So friend dies. Plastic Man is like distraught, but he's like now has a mission to bring down whoever just killed this guy and whoever's going around murdering people, kidnapping, whatever's happening. When he turns around to go, SWAT team's right there. Bail. And then there's an old lady back there, and she's saying, that's the guy, y'all. That's the guy I just saw murder my neighbor. And Plastic Man's like, what? What? But that was the end of the comic. I gotta say, this comic has so many freaking advertisements in it. I can't even begin. I normally don't buy individual issues, so I don't know how many of them are like this. I know most of them have advertisements, but dang, like every other page has like Teen Titans, Justice League, Catwoman, like every friggin' page. And then Hawkman. This other one, wait a minute. They had one that was for the Batman Catwoman wedding, because this actually came out right around that time when everybody was hyping that Batman Catwoman wedding. Man, where is it? Anyways, what a letdown, let me tell you. I do have one of those comics though, so maybe I'll read that and then I'll review that to tell you why it's a letdown. Here we go. Bam, bam. But yeah, that was Plastic Man for you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was just the storyline, but he has so much snarky, like, awesome comedy throughout that had me cracking up, and I was super smiling because I grew up on Plastic Man. I watched the cartoon when I was little. I used to pretend to be him. I cosplay him. He is my boo bae, okay? So I highly suggest reading it just because getting the idea of who he is and seeing how funny he is and his personality is all in the writing. You know, it's not in me telling you what happened in the story. But I suggest you read it. Like, the storyline seems like it's picked up pretty well. I'm gonna get a couple other issues, and then I will, and then my son just walked in. Go that way, please. And then I will get a couple of other issues, and then I can go ahead and finish the reviews for Plastic Man. Alright guys, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful,
by the way, it's been
a wonderful Thursday. Have a lovely day.
Get over there.